G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Thanks for watching Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we're at Coast Reef. We were here 4 weeks ago doing an experiment in which we added a stripey into this tank to hopefully eat the Aiptasia. Now the Aiptasia was a massive problem in this tank. It was absolutely everywhere. So today we're back at Coast Reef and we're going to see the results. So here we are in front of Coast Reef. And before we have a closer look at the tank and have a look at the results of our experiment, let's just talk about what has brought us to the point of trying a stripey to control the Aiptasia in this tank. So first of all, the Aiptasia in this tank was really bad. 6 weeks ago, there was Aiptasia everywhere and we couldn't see the coral through the Aiptasia. Now the Aiptasia are a problem because they sting corals and they can make it difficult to really have success with your reef tank. We've tried a number of things in this tank to control the Aiptasia. First of all, topical applications of treatments such as Aiptasia X. Now this is a difficult thing to do when you've got a large number of Aiptasia. When you've got one or two and you can really focus and make sure you get them all, that it does work. However, the problem with the Aiptasia was so bad that we couldn't control them through Aiptasia X. The second thing we tried was a form of biological control in terms of a copper band butterfly. Now this didn't really work very well because copper band butterflies are a relatively difficult fish to keep. They're a fussy feeder and they're quite timid, and the copper band we tried in this tank never really mixed in with the dynamic of the fish that are already in here. We also tried peppermint shrimp. Now peppermint shrimp are one of my favourite forms of control of Aiptasia and they work quite well in relatively small tanks, and this tank is 500 litres. I would have thought that they would do okay in this tank and control the Aiptasia, but the peppermint shrimp just really never survived. There's something in this tank which has been eating them or killing them. So peppermint shrimp were not a feasible way to control the Aiptasia in this tank. So this is what's brought us to trying a stripey. Now, stripeys have been recommended to us for eating Aiptasia, but because we haven't tried it before, we wanted to see if it was actually true that they eat Aiptasia, but also whether or not they were going to cause problems in the tank. I was a little bit skeptical about whether or not they would eat coral, and also how well they'd get along with the other fish in this tank. I have been told that they can be a little bit of a bully in some tanks, and some of the fish in here are a little bit delicate. We've got the cardinals, the clownfish, and so I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to have any ongoing problems with the stripey. So today we're going to look at these three criteria. We're going to look at whether or not the stripey has caused any problems with the coral, whether or not he's getting along well with the fish in this tank, and most importantly, we'll have a close look at whether or not he's eaten the Aiptasia. So let's have a look. So let's have a look at the tank in three parts. We'll start with the left-hand side. Now, on this side we have, and it's probably the most obvious coral in the tank, this relatively large acro. And it did have some damage to the tips, but it's certainly looking like it's on a bit of a recovery because it's actually looking really good. It's got good polyp extension and its color's nice. Around the base there's a couple of these mini maxi anemones. Can't see any Aiptasia over on this side. There's also, interestingly, a little baby torch over here that has spawned, or they've bred in this tank, and that's one of the babies from it. We've got the Monty at the back, another acro. Everything looks pretty good. In fact, no, here we go. So just where the gold rim tang is, there is an Aiptasia. Now, it's the only one I can see on this side so far. It's in a little bit of a nook. So it's possible that our stripey hasn't been able to get down into it. But there we go, we've got one Aiptasia still on this side. Let's have a look in the middle and see how good that is. Okay, so there were quite a few Aiptasia in this middle section of the tank previously, and I can see one, it's right in the center. In fact, there's two. Again, they're both in little nooks. They're quite recessed down. So my guess is that it's a little bit difficult for a stripey to get into that type of hole and really sort of eat the Aiptasia out. there was certainly a lot more Aiptasia in this area, and they've definitely been cleaned up. So this really sort of shows that he's been eating the Aiptasia. It's a bit of a shame about those two, but our corals in this section are looking great. This bird's nest is a really vibrant pink. It looks really good, and we've got the blue acro, and the acro at the back had a little bit of damage, but again, looks like it's recovering quite nicely. But certainly, I can't see any damage to the corals that I would attribute to our Stripey, and I would say that a heap of Aiptasia have been eaten from this section. Let's have a look at the right hand side, because that's where the Aiptasia problem was the worst. So this is quite incredible. This area was absolutely covered with Aiptasia. We had them popping up out of the zoomatts. They were all over these rocks at the back. The Aiptasia were a big problem on this side, and I can't see any, no, there's one. I can see one Aiptasia where there was previously hundreds. And again, it's in a little recessed section. It's in that back rock. There's no corals on that rock, so I might actually take it out so I can kill the Aiptasia with some hot water or something. But looking at this side, that really makes me think that this Stripey has done an excellent job. So that's really good to see. I was a bit worried that the zoas might be one of the first things that our Stripey eats once he runs out of Aiptasia. But it looks like they're okay. I mean, it's hard to tell when you've got so many zoas in a zoomat like this. But he's definitely eaten the Aiptasia, so that's excellent. Let's have a bit of a look at the fish and how he's mixing in with the fish. I've been paying attention to the fish dynamics since we walked in, and it seems that our Stripey is getting along with the other fish quite well. The other fish have been a bit of a bully to other fish that we've tried to introduce in the past. As I mentioned before, the copper band just didn't mix in with this fish group. But the Stripey looks like he's mixing in with them great. That gold rim tang is really the boss of the tank, and the Stripey seems to be swimming around in front of him without any sort of problem. So I'd also say that the Stripey doesn't look like he's attacking the other fish too, because the smaller, more delicate fish, the wrasse, the clowns, the cardinals, they all look totally happy. Now, this Stripey isn't a really large specimen. They can get 3, 4, 5 times the size of the one that we've put in this tank, but certainly from what I've seen, he's really mixing in nicely with these fish. So that's really positive to see. So our original plan with introducing the Stripey into this tank was to put him in this tank for 4 or 5 weeks, let him eat all the Aiptasia, and then get him out. Now, it's turned out that the clients are actually quite attached to our little Stripey. They love the guy. They love the fact he's getting along well with the fish, that he's not eating the corals, and most importantly, what a great job he's done on the Aiptasia. So they've decided to keep him. So we're going to have the opportunity to observe our Stripey for the foreseeable future and see how he goes long term. Is he going to cause a problem with the other fish? Is he going to start eating corals? We don't really know, but now we have an opportunity to really find out. So far it's been a great success. We've seen an almost total annihilation of our Aiptasia, and everything is going well with our Stripey in Coast to Coast Reef. So I'm going to call it a success. I'm Captain Fish Guy. Happy reefing. That's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure you've subscribed to our channel so you don't miss an episode of Gallery Aquatica TV. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Happy reefing!